In this lecture, we will see k-means clustering. So, what is artificial intelligence and machine learning? Artificial intelligence is the ability of machines to think or act like humans. Means that we are trying to assign or we are trying to enable the machines to act or think like humans. Means that we are trying to impart intelligence onto the machine. Whereas machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence that allows the machine to learn from past experience. Here, in case of machines, we call the past experience our data. Humans are having intelligence in that humans will be able to learn from his previous experience or previous data. So the same thing if you are trying to implement on a machine. So if the machine is able to learn and improve from previous data or previous experience or from the history without being explicitly programmed, then we call it machine learning. Deep learning is a subset of machine learning which uses patterns based on deep neural networks. Here the learning process will be done in a layered manner. So artificial intelligence is the ultimate thing in which the machine should be act like a human being in different situations. It should act differently, just like a human. In machine learning, which is a subset where only very few things of the of a human will be imparted onto the machine, or the learning part only. Learning part in the sense it is the learning from past data or past experience is added onto the machine. So that is machine learning. Whereas in deep learning, we will try to implement the process which is very similar to the human brain. Human brain neurons will create artificial neurons, and based on that, we will try to learn in a layered manner. Machine learning itself can be divided into three types: supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. Supervised learning is a method in which the machine is learning with the help of supervision or supervised data. We'll be having label data or complete data. So you will be having data like x1, x2, x3, etc., xn, and corresponding y1, x2, then the next data in the same way, and y2, and so on. Means that you are having input and output. So you have a supervision. If this is the input, this is the output. If that is the input, that is the output, and so on. So that sort of a learning process is called supervised learning. Basically, there are two methods for supervised learning: a classification problem and a regression problem. A classification problem deals with categorical or discrete output problems, and regression problems are dealing with continuous output problems. So, for example, image classification, fraud detection, then email classification, all these are examples of classification methods. Whereas prediction of the weather, then growth prediction, etc., are supervised learning regression methods in which the data or the output that is predicted will be a continuous value. The second method is unsupervised learning, where we'll be having data without labels. Means that the data is not complete, the data is incomplete, so some of the data is not available, or means that there is no supervision. So you're having data like x1, x2, x3, etc., xn. Then next data also will be the same way. So you don't have labels. You yourself has to find out some patterns out of this data, and based on that pattern, you will be able to say this may be you'll be able to, or the machine will be able to learn based on the patterns. A best example is recommendation systems in uses unsupervised learning. Another example is dimensionality reduction. We'll be talking about clustering methods. A third machine learning type is reinforcement learning, where you'll be having real-time feedback. Means that you don't have a data. So what you do is you perform some actions on the environment. The environment will give you some rewards. Based on the rewards, you will be able to learn. Best examples are game, AI, real-time predictions, etc. So in reinforcement learning, you have an agent. An agent will perform actions on the environment, and the environment will give positive or negative feedback. Based on that, the machine will be able to learn. So these are the three types of machine learning algorithms: supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. So this is the thing which we are going to discuss in this lecture. What is clustering? What are the different types of clustering? And the main topic, what is k-means clustering? How does the k-means algorithm works? Then a subsequent lecture in which we'll discuss about k-means implementation using Python. The implementation which we are going to discuss is a raw implementation, and a raw implementation in the sense implementation from the scratch without using any library functions, and an implementation using scikit-learn k-means library. So what is clustering? Clustering is the process of dividing data sets into groups consisting of similar data points. So clustering is nothing but you group the data points which is given to you into particular different groups, such that each of the groups containing similar data points. So based on the similarity of the data points, you group your data points into different groups. That is the idea behind clustering. The 2 points that you need to do is data points in the same group should be as similar as possible. Data points in different groups should be as dissimilar as possible. So that is the based on the grouping based on similarity. So in the same group, all the data points should be very similar, as similar as possible. And data points in if you take two data points from two different groups, then there should be maximum dissimilarity, or the distance between these two should be maximum or more, based on some distance of between these the data points taken from two different groups should be more than a particular threshold value. So, for example, clustering is a process of dividing data groups into groups consisting of similar data points. So, this is your raw data given to you. You have an algorithm. The algorithm will segment this into one group, this items into the second group, this items into the third group. So, in this case, first of all, it can see that this data point is this data is having some what you call don't have any labels. This has got only features associated with it. Maybe let's say you have two features, color and shape. So uh, apple and pear is having round shape, and this is having some other shape. So let's say based on color you will be able to segregate the first item from the two, that is this was yellow color and the other was one was two red color. Then the second thing can be done based on shape or something like that. So that is the thing that the algorithm has to identify, how to group based on different uh, attributes. So here, for example, there are two attributes given to you. Based on that attributes, you should be able to make a decision. So this is belongs to one group, this maybe belongs to the second group, and this maybe belongs to the third group. So that is the meaning of clustering. You are given with data points with only attributes, no output will be given or no labels will be given. You have to find out clusters out of it, more groups out of it, and still you are not able to label this data points, because you will say that this is belongs to one cluster, this is belongs to second cluster, and so on. You will not be able to label, you don't have labels here. The uses of clustering, some of the use cases, these companies, they may use recommendation systems for you using recommendation systems of these companies may use clustering method. So So the same or similar type of users may be grouped into a single cluster, and if one person is using or watching a particular video in that group, in that age, let's say in that age group, the company created age groups, and in one age group, one person or a maximum number of people are watching a particular video. The same video can be recommended to other people, and so on. Amazon or Hotstar. Clustering methods can be used by banking and insurance companies as well, so that the customers of the bank or potential customers, what are the potential customers, etc., can be identified by banking or insurance companies. There are three types of clustering method. The first method is known as exclusive clustering. Exclusive clustering in the sense which is also called hard clustering, where the data point exclusively belongs to one cluster. So the data point is directly assigned to one cluster. For example, in this case, all these data points are assigned to the red cluster. All these data points are assigned to the blue cluster. All these data points are assigned to the green cluster, like that. So that is called hard clustering. The data point belongs exclusively to one cluster. That is called exclusive clustering. An example is k-means clustering. That is what the center point of today's lecture. The second type of clustering is overlapping clustering, or is also called soft clustering, where the data point, some of the data points belongs to the multiple clusters. For example, in this case, some of the red points belongs to the green cluster, and some of the green points belong to the red cluster. And so that sort of a situation is called overlapping clustering or soft clusters. And the example is fuzzy or C-means clustering. So here data points can belongs to multiple clusters. A third type of clustering method is hierarchical clustering. Hierarchical clustering is usually represented by a picture called dendrogram. Here, let's say you have these data points A, B, C, D, E, and F. Now you say that based on the similarity, you have grouped A and B and E and F. So the first grouping is done, A and B, E and F, then C is a separate thing and D is a separate thing. So initially we have 4 clusters. Initially we had all 6 clusters, then based on the similarity we have grouped these two and we have grouped these two. Then after grouping these two, by using the combined features of E and F, it is identified that D can be combined, or it is identified that D has some similar features of the group EF. Now these three can be grouped into a single group. Now combining these three things together, it is identified that the distance from these two, all these groups is similar. So these 4 can be combined. Now once if you have all these, then you can combine these two. So that sort of a hierarchical sort of a clustering method is called hierarchical clustering, and a best example is a dendrogram. So our next topic is k-means clustering algorithm. Here, this is a hard clustering algorithm where the data point are grouped into a single cluster only, exclusively into a single cluster. Here, the value k means in k in k means represents the number of groups or number of clusters. It's an iterative algorithm. Based on the features, algorithm assigns a data point to a group. So you have data points, you don't have labels, you have unsupervised data. So based on the features, the k-means algorithm, what it will do is it will assign a data point exclusively to one group. How many groups it will be creating is k number of groups or k number of clusters. So it's an iterative algorithm. In the first iteration, it will assign some data points to some groups. In the next iteration, this assignment may change. In the next iteration, this assignment may change, and the algorithm stops at some point where the data points are converged into its own groups. So this is the k-means algorithm. This is how k-means algorithm works. Selects the number of clusters. So let's say this is your data. You have this data, this many data points, and you have plotted this. Let's say you have a two-dimensional data. This is x1 and x2. So x1 and x2 will be plotted in 2 dimension, and you would like to cluster this data. You don't have any other features like you have two features x1 and x2. You don't have labels. So initially all data points are marked in black color. Now select a value for k. Your k is given, k is equal to 3. Now the next thing what we do is we create three clusters. In the sense, we just create three data points which are red, blue, and green. So when k equal to 3, we randomly select three data points, which is also called the centroid of the clusters. So this is the first cluster centroid, this is the second cluster centroid, and this is the third cluster centroid. So that you randomly select, that's it. So you randomly select how many centroids, k number of centroids. In the third step, what you do is you measure the distance between each data point and selected centroids. So from the first data point to the first centroid to the second centroid to the third centroid, you find out the distance. This is the distance from first data point to centroid 1, centroid 2, and centroid 3. Then second data point to centroid 1, centroid 2, and centroid 3. So like that, distance of all the data points to all the centroids. So first data point, this is the distance, and this is some large distance, so this is some large distance. So first data point is assigned to red cluster. Second data point is also assigned to red cluster. Let's say this is your third data point. Third data point, this distance is more, this distance is more, this distance is less. So the third data point is assigned to the green cluster. Like that, the algorithm proceeds. So measure the distance between each data point and the centroid. First data point to all the three centroids, second data points all the centroid, then assign each data point to the nearest cluster. So after the first iteration, or after the assignment of the data points to the nearest cluster, let this be the data you are getting. So let's say you have found the distance by using Euclidean distance, that is x1 minus x2 whole square, square root of x1 minus x2 whole square plus y1 minus y2 whole square. By using the Euclidean distance method, you have got these data points assigned to the blue group, these data points assigned to the red group, and these data points assigned to the green group. So the first step was randomly select three data points as centroids, then measure distance from data points to the centroid, then assign data point to the nearest cluster. Now calculate the new cluster as the mean of the data points assigned. So this was your centroid 1, this was your centroid 2, this was your centroid 3, which were found randomly. Now you find the new centroid of the red points. Red points new centroid in the sense the mean of all these data points assigned. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 data points assigned to red cluster. So the mean of these 6 data points will be your new uh, centroid. So the red centroid moved here, blue centroid moved to here, green centroid moved to here. So previously this was your centroids, now the centroids moved to here. Now the same process is done again. The first data point to all the three centroids, second data point to all the three centroids, and distance is calculated. And again, after calculating the distance, you assign the data point. So these two steps, distance measuring and assigning of data points, this third step and fourth step will be 3, 4, 5. These three steps will be iteratively done, and repeat the steps 3, 4, and 5 and until convergence. The data points within the cluster doesn't change. That is your convergence criteria. So in the n minus 1th iteration and nth iteration, the data points within the cluster is not changing. Then that sort of a situation is called a convergence situation. So at that point you can stop. So let's say this is your final clustering output. In this case, 7 data points assigned to the red cluster, 6 data points assigned to the blue cluster, and another 6 data points assigned to the green cluster. Now in the n minus 1th iteration, this was a setup. In the nth iteration also, this is a setup. So you can stop. So this is what k-means algorithm will do. K is already given. You select the number of clusters, k equal to 3. Then randomly select k number of data points as centroid, means that you randomly select 3 clusters. Then 3, 4, 5. These 3 steps are repeatedly done. Distance measuring, assigning of each data point to the nearest cluster, then calculate the new cluster centroid. And this process is done until convergence. Here the value of k was previously given. Now if you would like to find out the value of k by your own, then you will have to run this algorithm for multiple values of k, and you have to plot the error for different values of k, and you can select the value of k. For example, if you run the same algorithm for same for different values of k, like k equal to 1, k equal to 2, k equal to 3, 4, etc., then you will get you normally you will get a elbow graph like this, some L shape like this. So L shape in the sense an elbow graph. In that, this elbow point, this L sort of graph, in that elbow point can be selected as your best estimate for value of k. If you take the value of k equal to 1, then you will get large error. K equal to 2, you will get large error. K equal to 3, you will get some moderate error. K equal to 4, 5, 6, etc., you will not get much higher performance. So it will be an elbow graph like this. So that minimum or that elbow point of that graph can be used as value of estimated value of k. So that's about k-means algorithm. We'll see the implementation of k-means algorithm using Python in the next lecture. Thank you.